Prototype Playtime.
Welcome back to Prototype Playtime. I guarantee you this is a Prototype Playtime and not a review. Even though this thing sure looks done, this is ThreeA's Bumblebee, Deluxe Bumblebee, from the Bumblebee movie. This thing is an advanced production test shot that's on loan to me from ThreeA. I've been told that tolerances may change. This thing looks a whole lot like it's done, if I'm being honest, and feels that way too. This is a new scale for ThreeA. They're doing something that's smaller than their usual roughly 14 to 18 inch scale premium pieces, and they're using a lot more die-cast metal this time around. Also, and this might be happenstance, this Bumblebee is the most accurate Bumblebee movie Bumblebee on the market right now, as legit every single Studio Series and Masterpiece toy, as of this recording, looks a lot more athletic, has bigger door wings, looks a lot more like the Michael Bay movie Bumblebee, and that plays into this long-running theory I've got, long-running being like the last year or so, that movie looked a lot different until about a year and a half ago, after the last night was kind of set aside. Anyway, long story short, if you like that movie and you're not satisfied with the look of them Bumblebee toys on the market, this is the one to look at. He's round, he's cuddly, he's got little wheels on his back, he doesn't have giant door wings unless you want him to. And the thing that really blows me away is this thing feels heavy and solidly built, and it does not feel like the other ThreeA Transformers I've looked at. I like those, and I said many times they felt super sturdy, and they did, but they felt super sturdy as big plastic and PVC and etc. material, ratchet jointed, stonkin' articulated Ronin Warrior type things. This reminds me a lot more of Soul of Chogokin, reminds me, oddly enough, a whole lot of Flame Toys and Chemical Attack's work. It's not on quite the same level, but there's some stuff going on in here, like Bumblebee's got a ball socket neck and a ball socket joint at the bottom of the neck as well. His little ears can twiddle, actually. It's kind of fun for the kids. There's a whole bunch of jointage in the shoulders to go outwards, to butterfly inwards, to go forwards and backwards. The pectoral VW boobs can move out of the way a little bit and offer some play and flex and etc. Like they can be outwards when he's standing still, or if you've got an arm kind of coming forward, you can angle that in a little bit. He's got bicep swivels and a interesting jointing scenario on his elbows. If there's one thing about this figure that scares me, it is this little sticky uppy bit, because if you don't rotate this the right way, that can be flexed right into the joint and potentially snap if you're like really pushing it and not noticing it's in the way. So you can just do this to get it out of the way. And yeah, it is basically a double jointed elbow. There is a joint, a big obvious one, then a smaller one here. The wrists are ball socket jointed, and unfortunately, the wrists have these really lovely knuckle pieces that flow with the forearm when they're sitting still. When you start posing the hands, they start to bump a little bit, and it's unfortunate because up here on the shoulder, this whole piece can joint out of the way so you can get, you know, more full-on T-posing. The shoulder joints, though, like the butterfly motion and everything, it all feels very smooth and lovely. Like, there's lots of warnings in the instructions about stuff bumping together, but then, like, you get into here, this is where things start to feel a little bit chemical attacky. There's an ab joint that nicely, deftly covers up, you know, where the cassette player would be, which sadly is not molded in there. But then it has sideways tilt as well, and a lot of it. And as you tilt things forward here, you're revealing some of his big spinal plates. And I'm into that. And then you have another joint just like that down here at the base of the waist. A little bit more limited side to side, but you combine these things together, and there's a ton of torso articulation in this fella. And that's something I'm happy to see. Like the shoulders, you got these articulating panels on the hips to get him out of the way if you want to kick sideways. Unfortunately, they get out of the way to allow him to do that much. Like, if they're in the way, it's bang. So you're not getting the splits, you're not getting any kind of major dance moves, and you're a little bit cut out of some more crazy melee poses whenever, you know, DX Blitzwing comes out, if you want him to actually, like, crawl all over him and stuff and totally bang up your paint jobs. He can kick forwards happily, and then this is where, there's also a thigh swivel. The thigh swivel is actually kind of high. I almost wish it could have been located down here to avoid having this piece swiveling around, but, you know, it is what it is. The knee here is where things get real chemical attacky, because, like, check all this out. Like, watch this mechanism pump for a little while. Enjoy the view. Between that and the torso joints, those are the highlights of this thing for me. The ankles have a flap that can get out of the way, and you probably should just lift it up if you're going to pose the foot at all, just to avoid any collisions, and then set it back down when you're done. But the whole foot can rotate left and right. There is, a step-in joint, and there's a tilt-in joint. Very solid stuff. And then there's a toe joint, which is that solid. It's got some stick to it. Like I said, they were telling me that, like, hey, it's a test shot, tolerances might change, and I'm like, what y'all gonna change? Like, it all feels fine. I don't know, maybe... I mean, that's not a tolerance. I can't think of a tolerance to fix on this guy, as far as the joints are concerned. If there's one tolerance to fix, it is that these things are a little bit wiggly, they could be a bit tighter, and these are, what could have been the door wings. They can come out. There's like a little peg here, and that's because if you want to, you can swap them for full-on door wings with like crazy levels of old-timey car interior with that velvety brown mush. Also, these wrist ball joints, they're ball joints for a reason. That's because you can pop hands off. He's got 3 pairs of hands, palm open hands, splayed open hands, and fists. The pop-on, pop-off, feels pretty darn good, and the overall articulation of this dude is so characterful and emotive that it immediately makes me sit there going, man, I sure could do with another 3 or 4 sets of hands. Little thumbs up, little meek, oh no, did I break something hands. The characterfulness of the film demands characterfulness of this character, and then this figure is so capable of that, it makes me demand more. I am the problem here, is me and my greed. Also, the head can pop off, and this thing just, pops straight off. Ergo why I said the head can pop off. And you can plonk in a battle mast head. Given the size of this dude and the way that ball socket joint feels super darn good to pop in and out, I'm alright with this instead of some kind of snap-on battle mask. It also means he can have slightly different looking ears that are also articulate. The instructions do mention, hey, keep your head on, that you don't want to move these things too far forward. There's a certain degree to which you'd probably risk breaking them, and honestly, if you're pushing too hard on these, you're gonna feel it before it becomes a problem. And you can also curl them all the way back to give them a totally, ball-shaped head. And as for that mysterious poppy skull plate, there is a button you can press. It's the Autobot symbol. It makes his eyes light up. The other head can do that as well. Boop. Check that out. These are real good LEDs. You want to know my favorite part of this whole setup? The most beautiful thing. The thing that is setting this figure apart from so many other, not just 3A figures, but so many figures with Transformers licensing or third-party IP infringement that have batteries. What's beautiful about this, they're LR44s, they're friggin' normal people batteries that you can actually just go and buy easily without having to go on Amazon or eBay. I was real happy about the LR44 situation. Also, I like how the light system is just this brain module you can pull out, and that the switch not only is characterful and fits in with the design, but it is a dummy switch to push an actual clicky little switch behind the Autobot symbol. There's one more swappy part. You can pull the entire arm off if you want to. It's got another one of these sturdy little pegs that were on the door wings. I think the peg is metal. But you can jack in this whole extra gun arm for when this Bumblebee gets mad. And this gun arm doesn't really do anything other than, just replace the forearm and be a large weapon of death. But it looks the part, and it's very detailed. You can see his 1, 2, 3 fingers and his thumb in the sculpt of the gun arm. And once again, where I said that the swappable hands were great, the options we get were great, but they just make me want more, the gun arm is so well done, it kind of makes me wish there was a swap-in red LED brain module for the battle mast head for that one scene. One last feature to talk about, there is a display stand dealie. You gotta remove a thing from his butt. Get it out of there, and then you reveal his butthole. That butthole can connect into this stand, and this is a pretty big stonkin' stand. It snaps into the butthole quite solidly, but with the boy out of the way that this stand works is it's got one of these lift the thing, and you can slide the stand dealies, and then if you flip that down, it locks it. Up here, there is, you can pull this up, and then there's a switch up here. If you depress it, you can then start to sink that back down, and the butt plug itself doesn't have a ratcheted connection. It's got one of those gear teeth connections where you just pull it out and plug it back in, so it's super solid, won't fall out. But the stand serves its purpose well. The accessory count is great. This figure feels fantastic. But this is prototype playtime, so remember, this is not a review. This is just how this in-progress piece feels to me. This in-progress advanced production copy that has packaging and for sure feels pretty done to me. This dude feels up there with Soul of Chogokin, up there with Sentinel's Chemical Attack projects, the Flame Toys, Kuro Karakuri line. This thing is astonishing. I was expecting a downsized version of their large premium scale movie robots. This is some buttery smoothness. There's metal all throughout this guy, and it's placed well. A lot of it is internal. Ton of it is down here in the boots. The LED function uses normal batteries. They've already announced a Blitzwing, and I'm just sitting here like, y'all now owe it to me to do Dropkick and Shatter. If I can't get Violence Husband and Master Wife in this quality, in their robot modes, to go with this little guy, I will be a sad, sad boy. By the way, his height, I should probably show you. Size comparison with this measuring tape. He is approximately 8.5, no, just over 8 inches tall. I think Blitzwing's going to be up here off screen, where the numbers are double digit. But he is certainly a little bit more substantial than the MPM Masterpiece movie, VW Bumblebee. He's taller than I thought it was going to be. I haven't put them side by side before, but yeah, this is the MPM, that's the ThreeA Deluxe. Let's do a real messy thing here as I cut to B-roll that looks better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little prototype playtime. Let's just say for a third time to hat-trick it, this is not a review, even though I know someone's writing it in the comments already. If you're going to write in the comments, nice review, why don't you instead write, hey y'all, I'm interested in your Patreon campaign. Why don't you tell me more about it? And then get banned because you're a sock puppet account that I'm operating. Anyway, I do want to give a big, legit, non-jokey thanks to all of my patrons out there and all of my folks who've bought me a coffee. Y'all are a fuzzy wind beneath my wings, if I had wings. A fuzzy wind beneath my arms. A fuzzy wind against my back. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you very much.